All right, my friends, we're back for the second stage of painting on this floral. And in the time that we were away, this area has dried sufficiently. And I've given my water, I've refreshed it as it was tinted with such a powerful red. And so with some fresh water, I'm gonna go into this background and I'm gonna do something a little different. So as you might imagine, I should be going into these green petals and painting them green, but to further illuminate or to give a little bit more life to the lesson today, I'm gonna paint the entire background as we've talked about, giving it one atmosphere or putting everything lit under one sun. And I'm gonna create a green that will match that leaf. I'm gonna get rid of some of this red I won't need for a minute. And adding a little yellow. It's gonna brighten that color a little bit. Yeah, I like that. And I think that's the right color. I like that. So I'm gonna use a separate brush, and I'm still gonna go with a larger brush. Where did it go? I have a number 8 that I seem to have put down. Oh boy. I want to give that background a nice wash. Well, having misplaced my large 8, I'm gonna go with this smaller 6. I wanted to use something bigger, right, to cover more ground quickly. But some studio gnomes have stolen my number 8. So, how about I rinse? I'm gonna rinse this number 6 or 8, whatever size this is. I've got a bucket of water that I'm using for my big rinses. But let's give this background just a bit of a wash. I'm gonna be really cautious around the edge of the flower because I do wanna capture some of the white fibrous quality of those petals. But as you can see, I'm painting right through these leaves. And I'm following the edge of the flower because I do want to keep that, but I painted right through these leaves, and I'm going to show you why I'm doing that in a minute. But consider this, because we're all in grade school taught to paint by number. And that paint by number mentality is not bad if you're a 5th grader, but we are artists, and we're gonna do things the artist way. Okay, so I've given that background a nice wash of water, having mixed this somewhat lime green, and I may need to order up more. I want to have enough to do the whole job. But while I've got this green, watch what I do. Rather than just painting the leaf, I am painting all of the background. Marvin, why are you doing that? The whole background's not green. Well, I want to demonstrate the power of negative space. I am gonna mix in, while I've while I'm doing this background, I see that I've got some buds in the background, and I want to give some respect to those. All right, and I got a brighter one. Sometimes you gotta get the muted color out of there. I got somewhat of a muted. There we go. So then I'm gonna come right back to this green. And hopefully, I'm moving fast, but hopefully you can see that I'm dipping my brush, I'm cleaning it off, I'm controlling the amount of water that's on it. But I'm also, there. I want that floral to be a part of the background, that flower that's there on the side. I may leave a little white edge on there. I'm trying to move quickly as I want to keep that soft touch even as this page begins to dry. I want to stay ahead of it. There, I have painted completely through all those leaves. I've left a little white edge around the top, the crest of that bud. And I am seeing in the petals, and if you're watching from the photo, in some of these petals, there's just a little bit of a green, maybe like from the tender part of that blossom remained green. And I want to capture some of that. And while those edges are a little harsh, I'm going to soften them with adding a little water to the edge. And let that bleed out. Just a little dampness around the edge helps those hard edges bleed out. And then I'm taking some of the water. I've got this tissue in my hand, and I take some of the water off my brush. There. Man, see, we needed those soft edges. I noticed that when I'm concentrating, sometimes I hold my breath. And in athletics, you're taught never to hold your breath. Whether you are a marksman firing at a target, or you're doing martial arts, you don't want to hold your breath. And so I'm going to practice breathing. I just cleaned up some collection of water that was puddling there, but because it was green, I'm gonna continue it in this in these petals. I've turned my brush. Hopefully you can see I'm using the edge of this brush because it was giving me a little teeth, some of the bristles. And I wanted that effect in here. Same along the edge. And And here, I like the idea in these shadows to use this green rather than going to a gray or creating a black for the shadow, because like what we talked about with doing oils, we want to bring a little cinnamon throughout the entire piece of pie, right? All right. And again, where these edges feel soft, those petals they seem like if you touch them, that they would be really soft. And so I'm dampening those edges so that I don't get that harshness. And this background, as I've been working on these petals, that background is beginning to set up and dry. And as it dries, I'm gonna use both paint and water to lighten and darken some of those edges. But we're being patient because there's still some real dark edges that are gonna happen in here, but we're going one layer at a time, and layer by layer, we're gonna let this layer set up. You'll be amazed that you can paint on top of a layer and not disrupt what's beneath if you don't overwork it. So that's what we're gonna be continuing to work on. All right. I just saw something else too. And, I don't do florals a lot, so there's a little bit of learning the process happening for me right now also. But there is still this area here that is from the petals that bleeds over into what I'm calling that bulb. And I don't want to lose that. And I'm going to use that dark shade to further isolate the petal from what I'm calling the bulb. Maybe a better name for it. But while that's still wet, again, I'm gonna soften that edge. I'm not gonna work it hard. Look, I'm just gonna add a little water. And I'm gonna let the water and the bleed do the rest. We have gravity on our side. I have this moisture on my side, and I don't have to do a lot of rubbing. The more you massage, the more you disrupt that paper. Not what we want to do. All right, keeping that edge nice and soft. I want to bleed that down, so I'm gonna add a little water here and see if it'll pull that edge down. Very good. You see, the use of negative space is bringing some of that that petal to life. And I can see the lightest part of this petal it's gonna look a little bit more translucent when the top is more brilliant. So I'm gonna add some more brilliant red near the tops of these petals and let that bleed into the softer red so that it takes on that almost, again, fleshly tissue or soft quality. So here, man, just a little water, not much. You see me wiping my brush off. There's a little water going on there, and then I'm gonna go to this brilliant red, almost straight paint, and I'm gonna dab the tops of these petals and see if it'll bleed down for me. I'm gonna rinse this brush. I'm gonna remove some of this excess water, and see if I can let some of that bright red trickle down. It's a Ronald Reagan trickle down theory. Well, it doesn't work for economics, but I think it works in a watercolor. There we go. Boy, I see this floral starting to take shape and come to life and have a soft quality about it. I see some more happening over here. I want the brilliant red, but I want it to bleed down. So I'm gonna rinse this brush almost void of color and see if I can make that red soften out as it goes down. There we go. There you go. So you see what's going on? I'm putting the most brilliant color at the top of the petal, and then with a little water, I'm letting it, a water beneath, letting the water do the work for me. And I see there's some more that needs to happen on this outer petal. So again, I'm gonna wet it first. I'm gonna wet that petal, and then I'm gonna come in with almost straight red. Test it first here, look how bright that is. And I'm gonna add that red to the top of the petal and see if gravity will do some of that work for me. And you know, sometimes you have to help nature along. I don't think I added enough water for that pigment to move as much as I want it to. So I'm gonna add a little bit more water and see it move for me. There you go. There you go. All right, I'm digging that, and I'm gonna fan it a little bit. You all have encouraged me to get a blow dryer, and I've been resistant to the idea. I think I'm a purist, but I'll get a blow dryer. Right now, I'm fanning it with this paper, and I'm gonna go into these leaves, these green leaves, and start to give them some more dimension. And I'm gonna pay close attention. Leaves have these veins, right, that go down the spine of that leaf, and then they branch out almost like a system of blood vessels, I think. And I'm gonna use a bit smaller brush. I think this is a number 4. You know, if you don't have a 2 and a 4, it doesn't matter. You just use a medium-sized brush. Again, I'm using these mop brushes because they have the fat body and the pointed tip. And I'm gonna go in with this green that we were using, but I'm gonna add more yellow. Keep that kind of a minty, or not minty, maybe more of a lime kind of green. And I'm gonna mix up enough to do the work for me. I like to have enough on hand that I got that color in stock, right? And then with these leaves being somewhat dry, I'm gonna try and paint between the veins. And hopefully you'll see what I mean as I move along. But this leaf over here, there's a yellow vein that goes down the center, but then off of that yellow vein, are these smaller veins that kind of, hopefully I can capture that. I'm not feeling the control that I need here right now. Sometimes it takes a second to get the control. So I think by painting painting these little planes that rest between the veins, I can let the veins be kind of a negative space. I see those veins taper. I don't want to feel like I have to show every single one. Let's see, hopefully this is gonna do the job for me. On the other side, looks like I see less of it, so I think I'm gonna go this way. And this is an exercise in control. Hopefully, as I move along, I'll be demonstrating more and more control. Where that leaf isn't necessarily as straight as I want, when I come back and do that shadow, I'm going to be able to straighten up those lines that aren't maybe as straight as I'd like them to be. Here I'm going to rinse. I'm going to bleed that. I'm going to bleed that one out. Look at that. That one I like how that vein is showing up, right? It looks like there's another one back there. There we go. And those edges over here are feel a little harsh. See if I can soften that a little. Maybe. There we go. All right. And again, along here, I want to straighten that out, but I'm going to straighten it out with shadow. I see we're approaching 20 minutes. I'm going to pause so that this video is not too long to upload, and we'll come back in just a second. I may do a couple petals while I'm on break here.